chat to you about weeds. Now here at the garden, you can see here at the bottom of the rows, we have thistles. Now when you people see thistles, they go into absolute panic. Well, we deliberately let these grow because I want to harvest them, and I'm going to put them in my worm farm. And here I've got this very special shovel which you can't buy anymore. It's called a grafting shovel. It's actually meant for transplanting plants. The other thing of interest too is when it comes to carrying things, this 70% shade cloth is probably the best material you can use for shade, for putting things onto, because see how easy it is to get rid of the thistle? It's no problem at all to get rid of the thistle. Put it onto the shade cloth. Another wonderful thing here is that, I'll tidy this up later, we've got dandelion growing here. That's a very good product, a very good thing. You can eat that, and there's just absolutely no reason why to get shy about it. Now, next thing, we're going to take this over to the worm bin, and we'll have a very brief explanation of why we put thistles into the worm bin.
Now, I've been on the hunt for edible weeds at our place and for our salads, and came around the corner the other day. This has just appeared out of nowhere. It is a wild turnip. So we've been taking leaves for our salad, and right next to it is a curly leaf dock, and you can see we've been picking stems from that. And then right next to where I'm standing, we have one of those covered things which grew our lettuce last year, and we've purposely let it be. And we've got a kale that's appeared. We've got more dock. We've got other plants, creepers growing through, but we also have lemon balm, which is a very, very good plant. And they've all just appeared because we've left the whole bed alone. So I'm pretty excited about all of that. And I'll tell you more about weeds we've got in other places, but that's it for today. So I'm very thrilled about this, as I'm sure you would be too.
Here we are at the Never Fill worm bin. It's David Murphy introduced this idea in his book, Organic Growing with Worms. And what you'll also see inside this bin is two things. One is that there's a lot of citrus here. And it's been said you don't put citrus, onion peels, well maybe you don't put onion peels in, and they say the worms don't like citrus. Well, here we have pretty hardy sort of worms because they are quite comfortable in the citrus. You can see them here. In the citrus and other rubbish, so I find citrus is no problem at all. Now back to the weeds. As you see, we've got plenty of weeds here. We even got a bit of trad growing here, and trad I believe is an edible thing, and it's a weed that John Priestley especially grew under his citrus trees. We've got him filmed about that, and he said it's a wonderful ground cover. So we can get frightened about weeds, but there's no need to get frightened about weeds. Well, some weeds you don't want. Here's that thistle. That thistle will be going into this worm farm. And the reason we put thistles in the worm farm and other exotic plants, because they are different minerals. I'll just throw this away. They add different minerals into the soil, or into the worm farm, and it goes into the soil. I also like putting out a little bit of rock dust, but just not much, but a little bit of that goes on there occasionally, not too often because I forget. And I also like putting on a little bit of kelp, seaweed. And again, not too much, no more than, that's about it, a bit more than a spoonful, and just sprinkle it on there. And that's good for the worms. The worms love it, and it really makes the product that comes out of there to be absolutely tip-top. Now the product that comes out of here is absolutely beautiful. Now, this hasn't been rehearsed, so let's have a look what it's like. There we go. It is beautiful mulchy material, and sometimes that's, yes, you can see it's gone to earth. Virtually pure humus. Wonderful. Now that's a little demonstration here on the weeds. Now this is the vermicompost what I get, and I will be starting another bin here with vermicompost, and I will dig that in a little bit because the success rate is that much better. And just another thing of interest, I get these, use these poison tins actually, but they're not poison, it's hydrochloric acid. And I cut them out because we use the hydrochloric acid in our swimming pool. And the other things of interest, that may be of interest, when it comes to weeding, this is a particular thing which for harvesting flowers. And I find that this pot's going to be clean up very shortly, but this sort of tool is really, really good for weeding. And the other tools that are very good for weeding, which not commonly used, is a common knife. A serrated knife is better than a knife that isn't sweet. So you can see that even a deep-rooted thing like a dock can be easily removed. And just with a simple knife, a knife like this, it's not serrated, doesn't work as well. So that's a good, handy little hint, I think, for people who want to pull out weeds. The other thing too, of a lot of interest, plants are taking nutrients from the atmosphere and putting them into the soil. So the weeds, while they're growing, are actually keeping the soil microbes going, and actually keeping putting a lot more fertility in the ground, or in the soil. Another thing of interest, that we have a problem of native rats, and they're marsupial rats, and they're cute little things, but they're also extremely smart, and they will eat my seeds. So that's why I've got these things in pots, so they don't climb up and leave my seeds alone. When the seeds come out of the ground about high, they leave them alone. Hi, I'm Hugo Disler, and Helen Disler, that's my wife naturally, she's behind the camera. So I would like to show you a little bit of things that I do, and maybe and hopefully there could be of use to you as well. What I had a fair bit of trouble last year is growing peas, because what happened, we continually getting a lot of rain. We got a lot of rain this year too, and the seeds were rotting out, and I had about 4 attempts to plant the seeds. So I thought I'd be smart. I just copied something what my mother used to do, and she would get seeds and soak and let them get wet. And I deliberately did this, and so I put water down there and put some paper over, absorbent paper over the top of them, and let them sprout. So now I know all of those seeds will grow, except this one here. That's not it's got too much water. Now I did that with 2 trays, and I had some special 7-year beans, which I want to make sure they grow. So this one's probably had a bit too much, been here too long, it's coloured, but they are all ready to grow, those beans. And so what I found was good is having on polystyrene, or whatever you call this material, and tilting them so the water's down the bottom, and the paper over the top, and absorbs and it keeps them moist. These have been here for 11 days now. Could be a bit too long. And I have a bottle of water, which is spring water. I don't want tap water to put in the bottom of it. So these are ready to plant. Now the next interesting thing is this, that when I planted them, these 10 days ago, these are planted with vermicompost and compost extra put on here, and they've come up, and and I've got 2 like that. They're coming up, and where this didn't have the vermicompost, I did check it, and they are alive, but they haven't come up. Now over here I have a mesh which I will put around here, or strategically place it so I can easily reach through to get the peas, or walk in as well. And another something my parents taught me, when it comes to peas, they like climbing up things, so why use anything other than sticks? If you're fortunate enough to have a garden where you can get sticks, you just poke them in the there next to the pea, let them climb up there and onto the mesh. It's a very cheap, economical way, and the peas love it. And you don't need big sticks. You can even have little twigs that have the peas climbing.